Sports Radio 104.3 The Fan presents The Drive with the top six at 6.
How about 6? 6 is good.
Story number one. Perhaps it is significant that Aaron Rodgers at least wants to be a Denver Bronco. Rich Eisen with the following.
If he wants to go to a new spot, he'll force it right now. And I heard he would happily go to Denver because they've got the weapons, they've got the spot. He doesn't care that it's in Mahomes' division. He would actually love to personally beat Mahomes. He would love to send Mahomes to the wild card every single year. This is what I've been told.
Okay. Does the possibility that Aaron Rodgers really wants to be on the Broncos matter, Tyler?
Sure. I mean, it gives me a little bit of hope. I love it. If Aaron Rodgers were to get traded, I do believe that the Broncos are going to be very high on the opportunity list of teams that are going to have an opportunity to get Aaron Rodgers. It definitely matters if he wants to be here. He will have a voice in where he gets traded. Without a doubt, he will. But you still got to cross a bunch of hurdles. You got to get the Packers to be willing to trade him. You have to come up with the best trade package that is going to be better than all the other AFC teams that are going to pursue Rodgers. So it matters to the degree of it helps you if you want to be motivated enough to have the best package.
Ring it, Richie.
Okay, D-Mac, you gave George Payton an F for his first draft. What would have to happen for you to change your mind on that?
Get Aaron Rodgers, and then it's an A. That's the way it goes. You go up and down. I mean, you know, if this is all a ruse to get Rodgers, then you get an A. Wow, that you are brilliant. You are incredible. You didn't want to get Fields because it would send the right message. You didn't need to get extra picks, so you didn't give things away you didn't need. You got Surtain, who you love the best, and we have Aaron Rodgers. Dang. Are you kidding me? Where's the GoFundMe page for the statue building of George Payton? So that's it. It goes like this way or that way. Because the other alternative that we wanted to set this up for a 50-50 quarterback competition like we had with Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch, and this is not much different, was a disaster, as this will be as well. You?
Well, I guess I'm curious, what would your opinion be if in 3 years' time Justin Fields is not working out? He was the next Josh Rosen, and Pat Surtain is a good football player for the Broncos.
Doesn't matter because it all depends on if you have the quarterback or not if somebody else fails.
So it doesn't matter if you select the right guy or not?
Failure is failure, and you have no chance. This is like if you go to bat and you just want to take a walk so you don't swing the bat. Now, you may walk, you may get on base, but you'll never have it. The best you could do is get to first base. You're not willing to try to hit a double, a triple, or a home run. You're not willing to swing the bat because the possibility exists that you'll strike out. So instead, you just keep the bat on the shoulder and hope that you walk to first base. This is no different.
Sometimes you don't want to swing at bad pitches, though. Bring it.
Bring it. Well, that's right. Tyler, we have the Rockies having their game postponed tonight because of weather. Is it really that bad?
I think you could argue either way. It probably looks like you could play baseball out there. I could see, weak baseball players that don't want to play out there. They want the game canceled. Sandlot kids would be out there without a doubt.
Sandlot kids, they'd be out there.
Yeah.
What? They'd be there. They're not afraid. All right. Well, you got two for the price of one tomorrow, and if you have a ticket for tonight, ring it, Richie.
D-Mac, Jeff Driscoll is no longer a member of the Denver Broncos. What is your greatest memory of Jeff Driscoll?
Him getting COVID and watching Kendall Hinton start for the Broncos over the Saints. My memories of Driscoll are, in the first place, right? And, what? And then, that's my reaction when Rippon beat him out as the backup. And then, what? That's when he got COVID and everybody was around him and he couldn't play.
Hey, here's one for you. Do we have a better quarterback room? What you've been really big on. Do we have a better quarterback room right now than we did last year?
We do not, because they could have Oh, do we have a better back? That's actually, I got to slow my thinking here. Do we have a better quarterback room than last year? Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater's better than Jeff Driscoll. Drew Lock is better than old Drew Lock. And Rippon is kind of whatever. But you're still one player short. You should have picked up somebody to be on the practice squad. Somebody, anybody. Your practice squads can be huge now. And you've got to tell me, you have got to know, Tyler, that no quarterbacks available in the 5th round and beyond were better than Brett Rippon. And if that's the case, then okay, fine, I'll take your word. But you realize we drafted 2 safeties in the 5th round, right? You realize that.
Yeah, because they'll actually help the team more than your practice squad quarterback will, because they'll be on special teams.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So you win the argument. Now, you can win that argument. You can win the argument that, listen, these are the players that matter. These guys really play. These help you. And I'm not even going to argue with you if you tell me that. But if there is a quarterback out there in the 5th round or deeper that was better than Brett Rippon, then I think you made a mistake. So what can I tell you? But I'll take your word for it. And I don't even know. I haven't even looked at the draft that deep, Tyler. So I don't know who they even are. But I'll trust that Brett Rippon is better than all those quarterbacks that were taken 5th round and deeper.
Well, Brett Rippon is a very capable practice squad quarterback. I know that much.
Fine. And that's what I'm talking about, the room. Everybody fits a certain role. So, again, you could be okay if you got the Brett Rippon role. By the way, Brett Rippon was your backup quarterback last year. Well, here's a tricky one. You know what? Ring it, Richie. I'll just ask this. Ring it, Richie. Tyler, let's just say, because it's a 50-50 competition, that Teddy Bridgewater wins. Okay?
Okay.
Who's a better backup quarterback, Drew Lock or Brett Rippon?
Drew Lock. No question.
Why?
I don't even have to think about it. Because he's a better quarterback, and you want the better quarterback to be your backup quarterback.
So he's going to know the playbook better. He's going to know how to manage the game as a backup better. He's going to know all those things better.
Yeah. He's got the experience. He's a better football player. He's going to bring more spark when he goes on the field. He's better than Brett Rippon.
All right, so in this whole process, Brett Rippon got a huge demotion then, right?
No, he's exactly where he always was.
He was the backup quarterback last year.
That's not where he started. He started as the 3rd quarterback.
That's where he started, but where did he end up? He ended up as the backup. He was the backup quarterback last year.
Brett Rippon got a demotion.
That's all I was looking for.
I'm not overly concerned about Brett Rippon.
Sorry, Brett. Ring it there.
Are we worried about our 3rd-team quarterback?
No, but why is he on the team? All right, never mind. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Nobody's paying attention. What's next?
Oh, it's on me at this point, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so Denver moved up to select Javonte Williams in the 2nd round, early parts of the 2nd round, after hearing that Miami was likely to select him. How did you feel about moving up in the 2nd round to select Javonte Williams, a running back?
I was such a big Trey Sermon fan out of Ohio State, but granted...
So when did he go? Like 4th round, something like that?
Yeah, much deeper. We'd have to look it up, but it was later. He was certainly available. So, but granted, I never watched Javonte Williams. I didn't watch a lot of UNC, the other UNC football. I watched a lot of Ohio State, and I was amazingly impressed with Trey Sermon. So, you tell me and again, I'm open to be convinced. You tell me, or anybody tell me, why Javonte Williams is better than Trey Sermon.
No,
I'm not. That will tell you if it was worth moving up for him.
I'm not here to convince you of anything. I mean, I'm not a fan of drafting and especially moving up to select a running back in the 2nd round.
Right.
That to me is a big reach for a position that I just don't value in the 2nd round.
Right, because you could have got Trey Sermon, right?
Cornerstone positions. No, or I would not. It's not about Trey Sermon for me. It's about who did you pass on the 2nd round, and for me, that would be Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Right. But my point is, no, I'm agreeing with you. See, I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying it's about Trey Sermon, meaning so you didn't get Javonte Williams, but you got Trey Sermon, and you also got Owusu-Koramoah, right, which was a bigger position of need. What are we talking about here? How good is Javonte Williams where you're passing on a need like inside linebacker.
Well, he should be good enough that in a year's time, there's no question that he's your starting running back. So let's hope that that's true.
Ring it, Richie. By the way, my guy Cliffs, see what he did?
No.
He's so funny. He and I have had some fun conversations over the years about the signing bonuses of undrafted free agents that are on the team. Because he finds it out. I don't have anything to do with it, but we share a laugh about it. Because you want to sort of handicap the undrafted free agents that actually get signed. That was you, right?
That was me.
That was your story. How many undrafted guys were signed your year?
Oh, my year was ridiculous, actually. We had, I think, 4, if I remember correctly. So
really?
It was myself, Brett Kern, Wesley Woodyard. Oh, maybe three. But we all ended up being pretty key contributors on the team.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's for sure. Holy cow. What a year. That's amazing, actually. Who are the draft picks that year? I mean,
so it was Ryan Clady was your first rounder. Eddie Royal was your second rounder. Clinton,
okay.
The defensive lineman, drawing a blank on his name, out of Virginia Tech. Anyways, he was the third rounder. Corey Lichtensteiger was your fourth.
Oh, wow.
Jack Williams was fifth or sixth.
Right.
Josh Barrett was in there. And Spencer Larson.
Safety. And they got you three, and what a draft.
It was a hell of a class, man.
What the hell?
Carlton Powell, thank you.
Who was your quarterback?
Jay Cutler was the quarterback.
Holy cow. That's a draft.
Everybody defined by the undrafted free agents.
It's a big part of it. No, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
You can find that many good guys in the draft and find 3 quality guys undrafted, and you already have a first-round quarterback? Who was the GM then? Was that Ted? Was it
You know what? That is a very confusing question that no, it was not Ted. It was after Ted, and it was Mike. I think it was just Mike. I really do. I think it was Mike.
It wasn't the father, the Goodman, the father-son
The Goodmans
tandems?
were around, but were they the GM? I mean, was he the GM?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm drawing a blank. I think it was Mike Shanahan.
That is a hell of a draft. Now, that's how you do it.
Right.
That is how you do it. Damn. Look
it
at
really
that.
was a hell of a draft.
That is crazy. And, but Cutler was such a flake, unfortunately. Although, you know what, man? You know what? Holy cow. What year was that? Was that 2008?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike got fired in 2009. Oh, man, Mike should have never been fired.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, it was one season, but, we got drafted. I guess it was 2009. It was 2009, because I only played for Mike for 1 year.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, you got to let that draft grow, man. You got to
if you think about the young nucleus that was on that team, it's insane.
Oh, my God.
Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Ryan Clady, Tony Scheffler, we had Ryan Terrain was running out of his mind at the moment.
Right.
Oh, I forgot about Ryan Terrain. He was in there as well.
Wow. And they let Mike Shanahan go.
Eddie Royal. Ryan Harris was holding it down on the other side.
And, I get it with Cutler. Cutler had a lot of warts. I get it. I understand the downside. But how many years had we kind of sunk into Cutler at that point? Like 4 years? I mean, that's like when you're going to take off. That's when you're...
I think that was his third year, if I remember correctly.
Third year?
I believe.
Damn, dude. Okay. Wow. Man, hindsight, of course, is 20/20. But what was the problem? It was like 500 records and missing the playoffs for like 3 years.
Well,
right?
It came down to the final game of the season, and it was us versus the Chargers. We were playing out in San Diego, and winner got in, loser went home. We lost the game.
And Mike lost his job.
He did. I'll never forget, man. It was never on my radar that Mike Shanahan might get fired after that. Never in consideration. And I got on a plane the next day to go out of town. I landed, and I had 15 voicemails, and they were all like, dude, Shanahan got fired. I could not believe it. And immediately, of course, I mean, as an undrafted guy, I mean, I go into panic city because Shanahan believed in me. And who's the next guy going to be? Lord knows what's going to happen with the next guy. Turns out it was Josh McDaniels. I survived another year, but Josh and I were not for each other.
No, I mean, nobody was for Josh. Josh wasn't for Josh. I mean, Josh had, although, what was crazy though, dude, like, Josh did start 6-0.
Yeah.
That was the most messed up thing.
That was the most miserable 6-0 you've ever seen. Also, I mean, you would think that you start out the season 6-0 and it's like a party. Everybody's having fun,
right. Dude.
It was a funeral. Every day you walked into work, people were afraid to smile. People were afraid to laugh. It was the most miserable environment I've ever been in. I honestly, I do know how we started 6-0, and we started 6-0 because we did bang harder than anybody, and we were prepared to start the season because we went like 21 straight days of two-a-days fully padded. So, yeah, we were prepared to start the season, probably more than other teams, but by the time you got 6 weeks into it, you had nothing left.
Good stuff. I mean, again, you just sort of learn from things, and you do got to let a draft class grow. Yeah, I'm only being rough on Payne and stuff because we've just learned what life is like without a quarterback, and then you come up with the 50-50 stuff, and we've been down that road before. And that's why I say, it's a rookie GM. He although he's been around the NFL forever, it's a different deal when you're doing something for the first time. Things happen fast. Money talks. Here's from Kliss. 3 undrafted rookie Broncos gave, this is the money. This is the money. We always look at the money for the undrafted guys to see if they're going to contribute something. Andre Mintz, an outside linebacker, $85,000 fully guaranteed, $15K signing bonus, $70,000 salary. Nolan Laufenberg, guard from Air Force. Come on now. $10,000 signing bonus, $15 guaranteed, $25,000 full guaranteed. And Curtis Robinson, inside linebacker, $10,000 signing bonus, $30K, $40K fully guaranteed. Those are the 3 names to know. However, I will always point out Chris Harris. Boy, this is a great trivia question. Do you know how much Chris Harris got for a signing bonus?
No, not a clue.
To start with the Broncos?
$5,000.
$2,000.
$2,000. Wow, not a priority.
How about that, Broncos fans? Chris Harris, to start his Broncos career, got $2,000. $2,000.
Insane.
$1,000.
You never know,
all
man.
All he had. Isn't that crazy?
Well, you just never know who the first rounder is going to be, who the last guy is going to be. You never know who's going to last longer. I mean, if you go back and you look at my class in particular, yeah, Ryan Clady was tremendous. Yes, Eddie Royal was tremendous. But then once you go kind of 3rd through 5th rounds, all those guys, they were out of the league kind of in 3-4 years. The rest of us, we lasted a long time.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we are joined on the phone. The hotline is Ryan Spielborgs. Now, we know the Rockies game has been, they're going to play a doubleheader tomorrow. So the game is off for tonight because of weather. All right. There's a doubleheader tomorrow. That means if you have a ticket for tomorrow, you now have a ticket for 2 games. And first pitch is set for, I think, around 3:40 back-to-back. All right. Spilly. Spilly is our Fan Rockies analyst, courtesy of Bet Rivers Sportsbook, McGill's Hotel and Casino. Hey, Spilly, they hired Bill Schmidt to be the interim GM. What do you think about Bill? What do you think about the hire?
He was probably the guy that I would feel the most comfortable in the interim. I've known Bill Schmidt since I've been drafted. He's won many awards for his scouting acumen. He was responsible for virtually every draft. Very good at picking out the position players. When he's picking a guy like a Tulo and a Holiday and a Story and Atkins, and the list goes on and on and on. He's been very successful. In fact, what's amazing about kind of this look at the Rockies and trying to figure out the direction that this organization is moving forward. I'll use it as a parallel with the Broncos. The Rockies' ability to kind of grow homegrown talent and compare it to the rest of the league is pretty significant. They've done a really good job with some of the homegrown position players. It's been swing and misses on the free agency side. It's been swing and misses on the waiver wire. It has been, some failure to develop, almost a vision. And I think you guys have seen that as well over the last couple of years with the Broncos, is that what is the vision? What's the direction? Why can't you be better in the draft? This, that, and the other. But for Bill Schmidt, with the draft being so imperative this year, it makes a lot of sense for Bill to be in charge. And the last thing I'll say about where they're at right now that I think is really important to note, Story, Gray, Herman, Bard, and Michael Givens are your top pieces. They are your top tradable pieces. Herman still has a contract, but the other four are basically free agents in a year. You have to get value for them at some point or find a way to extend them if they're part of your future. And I just don't know what the Rockies are going to do in that conversation.
All right, Ryan. Well, who is going to make the decision on Trevor Story?
I think you know where it's at. I mean, it comes down to finances and, how much long-term commitment do you want? It comes down to ownership. I mean, but that's the same across the board. There's not, there's no autonomy from a front office when it comes to long-term contracts. So, like as much as Brian Cashman with the Yankees, you think he can just sign whoever long-term, he has to check in with the Steinbrenner. So it's regardless across the board, it's going to be dictated by ownership. And I know fans don't want to hear that, but that is the case across Major League Baseball. I think the biggest concern that I have is with Trevor in the free agent market, because what Lindor just established was a 10-year, $340 million nugget, right? And for Story, does he fall in line with Lindor? Probably not. Is he in a tier? Can you look at his skill set with a Lindor and a Tatis Jr.? Sure, of course he can. There's also Corey Seager, and there's a Javi Baez and a Carlos Correa, who's the youngest out of all of them. So, what is the actual market for Story? And then isn't it better if you're Trevor Story to just wait till the end of the year versus signing a long-term deal with the hometown team for a discount? So I just don't see that shaking out with an interim, and I didn't see it shaking out if there was a long-term, person in charge there anyways, because he's so close to free agency.
Appreciate it, Billy, and we'll check in with you next week. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, bud.
Bye, guys.
Ryan Spielborg's courtesy of Bet River Sportsbook, McGill's Hotel and Casino. Hey, did you see there was a crazy thing that happened, Tyler?
Oh!
The first pitch home run. Did you see that?
Oh, I did. Yes. Oh boy.
So if you don't know this local kid, Gilbraith is his last name, Legacy High School from Westminster. Oh man, you work your tail off. Now the Rockies are crushing at this time. I think they're up like 14-5. I mean, there's just literally no way they're going to lose the game. So maybe it's humorous. His first pitch he ever threw in Major League Baseball, Tyler, was hit into a swimming pool for a home run.
Yeah, not good. Not the moment you dream of.
His first pitch ever in the majors.
I used to have nightmares about my first play being a pass and giving up a sack on my first play. I literally had nightmares about that. My good friend Corey Lichtensteiger, who was in that draft, that literally happened to him.
No, it did not.
His first play he ever played, he gave up a sack. Yes. Now, he ended up making a whole lot more money than I did. Had a fantastic career. But I guess goes to show you, first play doesn't mean much.
No, it means nothing. He gave up another little banjo hit, got a double play, got out of the inning, and everybody could have a little bit of a laugh, and hopefully he has a nice long career. But there was part of me, like as a parent, that was just like, oh, no.
Oh, I know.
My buddy, what happened?
Terrible.
All right, anyways, it's all good. It's all good. They won that game. We'll see what happens tomorrow. In terms of the draft, well, let's get to it. Let's break it down top to bottom. That's next.
Does your company make safety a top priority? Alliance Safety, Colorado's premier supplier of safety equipment, is here to help make it one. As an authorized distributor of 3M safety products and home to all pro gear, Alliance has a vast inventory of personal protective equipment designed to keep your workers safe, including fall protection, safety glasses, protective gloves, and gas detection solutions. Visit AllianceSafetyInc.net. Call 303-388-8766 or stop by the Alliance Safety Warehouse off I-70 and Tower today to lock up all your safety needs.
Sports Radio 104.3 The Fan presents The Drive. Here's Tyler Columbus and T-Mac.
Well, the draft is over. It's always a little anticlimactic, Tyler, once the draft ends. You put so much energy and emotion and everything into it. So Just to recap, what are your overall thoughts about the draft?
Very hard to ignore passing on field for sure. And that, of course, that's going to be the story in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years' time. It's going to be, how does Justin Fields, how does Mac Jones look compared to Drew Lock? Or I guess in comparison to Teddy Bridgewater, now that we know that it's an open competition. So that's how this will ultimately be judged in the long run. But all right, if I set the emotion of that aside for a minute, which I get it, it's a part of the story, it can't go away. But if I set that aside for a minute, I like the majority of the draft. I really do. Patrick Surtain is absolutely a fantastic football player. Javonte Williams is a fantastic football player. You go out and you get Quinn Meinerz. I can't get that right.
Miners. Trust me, I blew it a million times before I told Miners. Mine.
And okay, at the surface level, he's a Division III prospect. Feels like a little bit of a stretch, but I actually happen to have a lot of connections to Quinn. I've done a lot of research on this guy, and all I can tell you, man, is that the people that have worked with him, they are very, very high on him. He's a guy that's going to require a lot of time, and he just doesn't know football the way that he needs to. He was never taught the game at the Division III level the way that he needs to know the game. It's going to take some time for him to just get caught up to speed with knowledge and IQ on the football field. But as far as talent goes, man, I've heard that at his best, and of course this would be an absolute dream scenario, but at his best, he could profile as a Marshall Yonda type of player. So, this is a draft that was about depth, D-Mac, and at the end of the day, how many starters did we really need? We really didn't have very many gaping holes. So I'm actually all right with the draft if we could take aside the quarterback conversation, which I know is a part of it.
Is Baron Browning a starter?
It's a good question. I think so. I think he's a great 3-down linebacker. He represents the modern game certainly more than Josie Jewell does. I would imagine that he's going to come in and be a day one starter, but it's tough for me to guarantee that. You go out and you get a guy not in the first or second round, and is anybody a guaranteed day one starter when you don't get him in the first or second round?
No. That's why I asked the question, because to me the gaping hole to me was a quarterback. But the literal do we even have a player here?
Linebacker.
Was it inside linebacker?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, all right. Let me ask you another question then. Can you imagine a scenario where if the Broncos are playing a team and the best player on the other team, maybe it's the Raiders with Darren Waller, maybe it's the Chiefs are tough, but let's just say for the sake of argument, you decide it's Kelsey. Is Patrick Surtain a starter in terms of that's who he's going to cover? He's going to be on Waller. He's going to be on Kelsey. It's not just going to be the typical Fangio zone sort of scheme.
Well, D-Mac, I'm going to go a step further, actually. And if this draft is truly going to be successful, Patrick Surtain's going to be your second corner on this team. He's not just going to be filling in those type of roles. Right. He should be starting over Ronald Darby. You selected him at number 9 overall. And, what does that say about your free agency acquisitions? Well, I guess you spent a little bit too much money in free agency on 2 corners than you need to. But at the end of the day, if you select somebody at number 9, my expectation is that you're going to be a starter. So Patrick Surtain is the only guy in this group that I would qualify as a day one starter. And at the film, it definitely shows that he should be as well. Ronald Darby has had a very up and down career. He's actually a very typical John Elway type of signing. He's a guy, and I know that wasn't an Elway signing, but of guys of the past where you go out and you pay him based off of 1 year performance when the rest of the history would tell you that he's injury prone and he hasn't been a fantastic football player up until last year. So Pat Surtain should be your number 2 corner on this team.
So the Darby signing's looking bad then at this point.
I don't know that I would say it looks bad. You really only committed to him for 1 year. That's what the guaranteed money would say. You needed to go out and fill that hole in free agency. You never know what's going to happen to you in the draft and what opportunities you're going to have. So I'm not going to say it looks bad, but no, we certainly... certainly overaccumulated corners in the offseason.
Is it the biggest waste of money then on the team?
Again, though, I mean, D-Mac, it's not that much money. You guaranteed like $9 million to him over 2 years. So,
right.
I mean, I'm not going to crush him on it.
Okay, no problem. Let's see. They let go of Jeff Driscoll. What are your fondest memories of Jeff Driscoll?
Well, he got one crack at it, and he sucked. And then the following, here's my fondest memory. Oh, gosh, I can't remember what game it was, but the following week after he got benched, I did predict that we were going to get a Jeff Driscoll sighting in the lower red zone, and they were going to put him in there for some sort of QBR or QB zone read type of situation, and we did get that. So that was my defining moment that I called my Jeff Driscoll shot.
God, that's so funny.
I don't remember what game was that. Do you remember that, though?
I don't. That is funny. Well, I'm a little my fondest Jeff Driscoll moment, and of course it's not his fault. Anybody could get COVID, okay? But it was Jeff Driscoll that did come down with the COVID that eventually led to our guy Hinton being the starting quarterback against the Saints. So for a combination of things, it wasn't all on Jeff Driscoll, but it was Driscoll having COVID, then being connected to Bortles and Locke and Rippin, and then we got Kendall Hinton.
Right.
So that's if you can't tell the Kendall Hinton Canton Hall of Fame story because we know he's in there.
Yes. Goodness gracious, how did I not make it?
Right. Well, you didn't play quarterback. But there you go. Jeff Driscoll made $2.5 million last year and guaranteed 2.5 more. But I guess we're okay without him. All right. In terms of, of course, the biggest news everybody wants to know is where do the Broncos sit when it comes to Aaron Rodgers? Is it dead? Is it still going? What are the fallout from the draft? And our insider, Mike Kliss, will join us next.
It's The Drive on Sports Radio 104.3 The Fan. Here's Tyler Columbus and D-Man.
All right, earlier today we hooked up with our guy Mike Kliss, our 9 News Broncos insider, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, McGill's Hotel and Casino. And yeah, let's find out what we learned about the draft. Mike, why don't you chime in on this conversation? In terms of importance on a team, where do you put cornerback? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, where do you put corner?
It's in the top 4. So let's see here. Maybe, I don't know. There's quarterback and then there's the other 3, right? You block for the quarterback, left tackle. You rush the quarterback, edge rusher. Mm-hmm. You cover who the quarterback's trying to throw to.
So the person that covers the receiver is more important than the receiver.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good enough. So how good of a cornerback do you need to be a better option than a quarterback?
Yeah, this sounds like a push, one of those push-pull questions. A leading question there, D-Mac.
Is that not the question? Is that not the question they had to ask themselves?
Yeah, here's what it was. It was, I kind of likened it to you make an investment and let's say a stock. You got this Fortune 500 company. It's already up there. You're going to make a safe 8 to 10% pretty much every year. Or you got these high tech, and that would be the cornerback, Patrick Surtain. Or you've got Justin Fields, a quarterback who's like, a high tech stock of 20 years ago. You can make 50%, or you could tank. And, I think it's, following this analogy, George Payton went for the safe 8 to 10%. A real good player who's with the number 9 overall pick. He's not going to whiff on. You don't want to whiff on a top 10 pick. And, I think this guy's good enough from what everyone says. He should be a 2-time Pro Bowler by the time his first 5-year contract is finished. Maybe a 3-time Pro Bowler. So, and Justin Fields, maybe, with his ability to go off script, he might be a guy who can keep up on the same field with Patrick Mahomes. Or, there's the whole, can he do it from the pocket? Can he process? All that kind of stuff. Will he go bust?
statistically speaking, at least two of these quarterbacks are gonna bomb out.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I'm not saying Fields is going to be one of the two or three that tank, but those are the percentages.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that you don't want to whiff when you're in the top 10, and I guess that's what it really comes down to for me when I try to make sense out of it. If you had the option to select a quarterback, I mean, D-Mac's right. Of course, the QB's got a bigger impact on your team. I'm not as down on the draft as D-Mac is. I still think it was a pretty decent draft by George Payton, but if you're going to pass on the QB, the only reason you pass on it is because you do not believe that guy is going to be successful. So I'm curious what you know about their opinion of Justin Fields, because I would feel like it implies that they think that Justin Fields is just not going to work out.
Yeah, him or Mac Jones.
Correct.
It'll be interesting. They. I think the Broncos. They can see that Fields will work out. I mean, they can. They'll be able to believe that he'll be really good someday, but they also had their doubts, and they had more doubts on Fields and Jones as impact quarterbacks than they did at Surtain at cornerback. And I think that's what it came down to. That's a risk. That's also a risk.
Yeah, but that. Oh my God, I'm losing my head here because everything is relative. Like I think this kicker is going to be the greatest kicker, so I should take him. No, of course not. That's ridiculous. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Because all right, he's the best at his position. Your position is relative to the other positions, and the potential upside.
Yeah, but what if you think that position? What if you think Justin Fields is not going to be successible? Then what do you do?
Then go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, then you go with Surtain. Let me throw in one more possibility here. I didn't ask George this specifically, and I'm sure he wouldn't answer it anyway. But if Aaron Rodgers does become available later this summer.
There you go.
Later this summer.
Yeah.
Right now, the odds are against Aaron Rodgers being traded. If he does become available for trade, the odds of the Broncos getting him are better than others, it would appear. And if you want Aaron Rodgers, it's probably not going to help if you have Justin Fields sitting there at number 9 as your number 9 overall draft pick. I don't know if that had any. I don't know if that had any impact or influence or. But it might have. George seems to think of everything, right? He turns over every pebble, not every rock. You don't take Justin Fields because you think you're going to have a legit chance at Aaron Rodgers at some point.
Mike, what do you know about the Aaron Rodgers situation? Do you believe the team when they say that they were not having conversations about Aaron Rodgers, or that they did not have a conversation with Green Bay? I'll be more specific on that. Do you believe them when they say that they did not have a conversation with Green Bay about Aaron Rodgers?
I think the Broncos have poked around here and there on Aaron Rodgers because it's it kind of came out that he's been unhappy ever since Beautiful Mystery. Really, it was 20 minutes after his season ended, and I think teams have periodically called the Packers, and the Packers have I think every time said we're not trading him, and so I think from what came out in the Silver piece is that the Broncos, through a third party, made an inquiry on Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, and we're told through the third party, and I'm not sure who the third party is. Might be the agent, although the agent seems like he's on Aaron Rodgers' side and wants out. But they found out through a third party, whoever that is, that the Packers were not trading him. And so, I don't think the Broncos made an offer. John Lynch, I believe, said that the 49ers did call, and we're making an offer or had made an offer, and we're told under no uncertain terms that he was not available. So that's where it is, guys. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is, until he re-signs with the Packers, it's going to go on all summer. But it's not anything that's imminent. That's for sure. He is not available for trade right now, so you do have to carry on. And right now, to D-Mac and many other people's chagrin, their quarterback situation is Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. And, it'll be interesting to see. Fangio said it's going to be 50-50. I believe that. But I think it seems to me like, you'd almost put a nickel on Bridgewater since he's the thinking there is not making mistakes as a quarterback, not taking risk is more winning football than, having all the talent, pushing the ball downfield, making the big plays, but also making too many turnovers that cost the team.
Our guy Mike Kliss, our 9 News Broncos insider, brought to you by Bet Rivers Sportsbook, McGill's Hotel and Casino. All right, Tyler, that's it. The draft is over. The roster is, I don't know, what would you say, 93, 95, percent set? I mean, this is basically a...
Yeah, you're down to waiver wires at this point. So this is the roster until you get through training camp, and then you see who gets released, and you'll probably add 2 or 3 players that you pick up on the waivers. So this is pretty much it.
I was asked, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers coming here? And I said, well... It's, I'd say it's around 30%. That's my guess. And then they said, so you don't think he's going to, be a Bronco? And I go, well.
Shoot, I'll take 30%. That feels optimistic to me.
Okay, well, my point was, I said, you mean of all the teams, I think it's probably 85, 90% if he does move to the Packers that he joins the Broncos. I just think joining any other team is low. You think 30% is too high.
Well, I agree with basically everything you just said there. I mean, it feels like it's down to the Broncos or the Raiders. It certainly has to be an AFC team.
Right.
Those are 2 teams that would take him at this point. We know for a fact that Aaron Rodgers would play in Denver, so he would certainly sign off on that and try to encourage it. But, gosh, there's just so much that has to go down, and we've got a month before there'll be any conversation at all. There's not going to be any noise until June 1st. So I guess we'll circle back on this in about a month's time.
Plenty to pay attention to, plus full coverage of what happened in the draft with Nick and Cecil coming up next right here on Sports Radio 104.3 The Fan.